I am most definitely a supporter of legalizing psychedelics in the future, and I'm actually quite optimistic that this will happen in countries like Australia, the United States, and other Western countries in the next 10, 20, or 30 years. And that would be a huge shift for society, and so many more people will start to have genuine spiritual experiences that will no doubt connect them to breakthrough love and help us all as a society become more auspicious and more happy, more fulfilled. So that would be a fantastic thing, the legalization of psychedelics. However, I do think that when we do take this step as a society, we should have a similar approach to it as we do with driving. Because if you want to drive a car, you first need a license so that you don't harm yourself or others by crashing your car. And psychedelics are similar because they are very useful to us, but if we don't use them safely, they can cause harm to ourselves and even to others. So what I simply propose that when we do legalize psychedelics, that we have a little test and a responsible use of psychedelic license. And how this would simply work is you would be given a guidebook filled with, the basic information of general knowledge about psychedelics, which would include common risks, the different types of psychedelics. It would include the routes of administration, perhaps some common anecdotes that people, give after they've taken a psychedelic, and other useful information like that, very practical, concise information that everyone can benefit from knowing before they take a psychedelic. After you've read that guidebook, you can do a simple, easy test that might be filled with questions like the following. And if you pass, then you get your license, at which point you can go to a pharmacy and buy the psychedelics which we as a society have approved. Now, I do think we should have some prerequisites, as with the driving license. For instance, there should be a minimum age. I would suggest the age of 23 might be good. And also, I think we should have a pre-health screening. And what I mean by that is you could just have a basic health check to make sure that your heart is not at risk of an imminent heart attack, that you're generally of sound health, and that your psychological health is also relatively stable. For instance, if you've been to a psychiatric ward in the past 5 years, then perhaps you shouldn't be given full access to psychedelics. And perhaps you can have a different option where some people that have health issues, whether mental or physical, can be given a provisional license where they can go to safe centers or clinics and take psychedelics there under medical supervision to make sure everything is safe. But if you meet the minimum age and you're of normal sound health, then you can be given an unrestricted psychedelic license. However, as with a car license, you can have it taken away if you abuse the power of the psychedelic. So for instance, if you're caught driving on a psychedelic, or if you are caught selling your psychedelics to children, then I think you should have your license taken away and you can't get a new one for a long period of time. As another little prerequisite that I think is more subtle but also very important, I think you need to demonstrate that you have a safe place to use the psychedelic. So you need to demonstrate that you have a safe setting. And this could be at your home. However, I don't think it is wise for us to take psychedelics in a home with children in it, because children can see their parents under the effects of a psychedelic, perhaps if the parent is freaking out, and that can traumatize children. So I think we should show that we have a safe setting available to us that is free of children. And perhaps if you don't have that at your own house, then you could join a meditation club that perhaps could have a nice building with a beautiful garden at the back. And if you're part of such a club, then that's a tick box. You have a safe setting, and that is another step, another prerequisite that you just met. And then you can get given your unrestricted psychedelic license. At that point, you can explore your inner consciousness to your heart's content because you know the safety precautions that are required, you know the risks, you know about all these different substances, so you are well informed. And you can go to any pharmacy and buy the psychedelic knowing that it is totally pure, you know exactly what you're getting, and you can be confident of the dosing, and everything will be very clean. And if you have the intention of being responsible about it, this whole path will be so much easier for you than having to go on the dark web or whatever and illegally attain these psychedelics, which is the unfortunate position that many people are in today. So that's really all I have to say about this. It's just an introductory opinion of mine, really, a proposal of mine. But I think it would be helpful that when we do inevitably legalize psychedelics, as I'm very optimistic about, that we do so in the context of responsibility and just include these basic prerequisites, these basic steps into getting your own personal responsible use of psychedelics license.